What if you could have an extra 700, 820, or $1,175 in your bank account this week? Would that make a difference for you? I know it would for me. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Heerf grant that's going to be coming in for many different college students and what the different criteria is and how to make sure that you get it, because if you don't have all the information in by March 14th, you will miss out on this money that is a grant that can come to you with very minimal effort. And the other thing that I'm going to cover towards the end of this video is, depending on where you are, if you don't need that money for covering some core expenses, what are some other things that you can do that can net you anywhere from $37,000 to over $60,000 in the long term. So you're going to want to stick around for that. And if you're a college student or young adult, I've got a free How to Start Your Next Semester Strong free PDF. Go ahead and check that out. So here's what the requirements are for this grant. So there's kind of four different tiers. There's if you have not filed for FAFSA at all. So this is, you didn't qualify for any student aid, you're paying on your own, your parents are helping pay, or you're doing it on loans. And at that level, what you are going to receive is $700. So no FAFSA, and that's at part-time. So part-time, $700. Now those same criteria, no FAFSA, but you're a full-time student, you're going to get $820. Now, if you are part-time and you also qualified for FAFSA, the financial aid, then you're going to get $820. And if you're full-time and you qualified for financial aid, you're going to be getting an extra $1,175 into your account. And that's specifically for Sac State. It may be a little bit different at different colleges, but that's the rough estimate of there's about a $400 gap between, or almost $500 between part-time with no FAFSA to you qualified for FAFSA and are full-time. So those are the different dollar amounts. Now, on top of that, the things that we need to be sure of that are happening is you need to be asking yourself, do I have an E-Refund for my college? So usually inside of your student center, if you're at Sac State, there's a student center, and inside of that, there's payments. You need to go to that and make sure, hey, is my bank account linked up to this? Because if it's not, they're going to mail a check. Now, if they mail a check and you've moved to a different apartment, a different dorm, it's going to be sent to your parents' house and your parents don't live there anymore, we need to update that as soon as possible, because they said in a video that so many times these checks don't get claimed, which means people are literally losing money that the government's trying to send them. Like, at least say yes. Like, go and check that in. It's a free $700 to $1,100. Like, it's worth the 5 minutes to go and make sure, hey, my E-Refund is in fact up to date. My physical address is up to date. Make sure that those things are there. And again, if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll show you how if you don't do that, that could be costing you $37K up to $62K. Stick around for that. The next thing is to ask yourself, okay, maybe like me, you were not expecting this money. Like, this was not something that I was expecting to come in. And so the first question that we have to look at is, number one, are we budgeting? If you don't know how to budget, I've got a video that I'll put up here. You can go ahead and check that out. But in addition to that, we want to be looking at, okay, what are the priorities financially for us as college students? So there's this concept called the 4 walls, which is making sure that we can cover food, transportation, housing, and clothing. So those are kind of the 4 walls. Those are the 4 pillars, the things that we have to focus on first. Now, once those things are taken care of, then the next thing is, as we're in college, it's asking, okay, do I have any debt that I could be paying off with this extra money? Do I have an emergency fund? Because the other thing is that emergencies happen. If we have a car, something's going to break. If we have other things, usually there's something unexpected that comes up. So maybe a great use for this money would be to put this into a savings account and leave it alone and have a emergency fund for when something goes wrong in the future. Now, if you've already paid off most of your debt or all of your debt and you've got that emergency fund, then the next step could be asking, should I invest this money? And if so, where should I do that? And I want to actually show you guys something that is really exciting to me, is if we simply invest this money, $700 at 10% for the next 32 years, this is what it actually comes out to in terms of money. So over here, we've got $700. So this is the lower amount. I'm currently 25, but imagine, let's say that you're 20. Look at how the number goes up. So if you've got $700 and you get a 10% return, and you just invest that now and do not touch it, you have the potential over time for that to become $75,000. Now let's go on the higher end. Let's say you invested all $1,175, and we can go ahead and see what that ends up looking like. There we are. So if you've got, what is that, 47 years to invest, that money right there could be worth $126,000. Now, if you are me, for example, then it ends up being a little bit less. It ends up being 77K. But still, I just want to make sure that you're aware of what happens when we're spending this money, when we have 30 years to invest as college students, as young adults, that this is the potential cost that we are paying by not investing now. And I wanted to highlight this because it can be so easy to go to think to ourselves, man, I'd way rather, get a new pair of Jordans or get new rims for our car, whatever the thing is that we want to do right now. But it's also asking, could I invest even some of this? Maybe I need to cover some bills, or I need to pay rent, or I need to save up for a down payment on something else in the future, and I can't do this. But the other thing, the reason why I wanted to point this out, is because it's so important to be investing on a consistent basis to get out of debt as best as we can as we're finishing school, so that we can start this process. So I hope that this video has been helpful. Please go ahead and give this a like, as well as subscribe to this channel. This is for young adults and college students who want to build and develop character now and do the small things like investing that over time grow into something really, really massive. So thanks so much for spending your time with me. Adios.